Shop Macy's VIP sale, going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Jay.
Oh, boy, Jim, lots to get to. Let's start off with the Vikings win yesterday, 31-29. They beat the Packers and improved to 4-0. Your thoughts?
Crazy. I mean, I've been covering games at Lambeau, I think pretty much every year since 1990. I've covered some playoff games and some extra games, so I've probably covered more than one game a year since. I've probably covered about 40 games at Lambeau, and they're always crazy. There's something about that place, the atmosphere, especially with the Vikings, the rivalry, the emotions. Crazy things happen. So, we saw two crazy things happen. We saw the Vikings get off to a 28-0 lead on the road against a very good team, and then we saw the other team come back and force the Vikings to recover an onside kick to win that same game. It's always wild over there. So I was really impressed with the game planning, really impressed with how they played early, and I'm sorry, I know Viking fans love to nitpick and worry, but you got a 28-0 on a really good team that has pride, that's playing at home. They're going to come back on you to some extent. Yeah, you don't want to give them 28 points the way the Vikings did, but they're going to come back. It's going to be a game at some point. So I guess I'm more impressed by the start than I am worried by the finish.
So, Jim, I mean, as far as when you take a big lead like this, and there's a lot of game to be played, it's got to be difficult to maintain that intensity. I mean, is it human nature to let up a little bit?
Of course it's human nature. That's why basketball is a game of runs. One team scores 12 in a row, the next team's going to score. It's who has more runs, it's who maintains their runs that wins basketball games, because it is human nature. You think differently with the lead, even if you don't want to. Even if Kevin O'Connell's still calling plays aggressively, there's that thought in your head, don't mess up, instead of go get it. It's just, it's absolutely human nature. Even though the Packers did a great job of coming back, I still thought that O'Connell was really good about maintaining the philosophy that got them the lead. He did want to throw the ball. They did make good plays offensively to help extend the lead. They just, but it's just hard to maintain that kind of urgency.
I mean, how about they were committed to run the football. Lots of Aaron Jones yesterday. He had pretty good success, ran for 93 yards, didn't get a touchdown. I know in watching the game yesterday, I was like, boy, it'd be nice if he could get a touchdown and do the Lambeau leap to some Viking fans waiting for him. Of course, it didn't happen. And Justin Jefferson, he came up with some big catches, especially one along the sideline, I think, in the second half in the fourth quarter, that initially was ruled not a catch, but you look at a replay, and he somehow got his feet in. Pretty amazing the type of plays he made, and Addison made some big plays for him, too.
Yeah, Addison immediately makes an impact, scores 2 touchdowns. I think he had 79 yards and 2 touchdowns on 4 touches. A great compliment. Jefferson was spectacular. I mean, that everybody in real time thought there's no way he could have gotten his feet down. And then he watched the replay. He's always on the sideline with the press box. We watched it. We could see it. We were just like, that ball's so far out of bounds. There's no way he could have gotten his feet down. And then we watched the replay. He got them down easily. Ridiculous catch. Jones did play really well, and he's having an excellent season. He's just a great back. He really is. I mean, he's got a career average of 5 yards a carry, and he's averaged 5 yards a carry. This is not flukish. This is exactly the way he plays. He's just so smart the way he sets up blocks and finds space. They're going to Hawkinson back in the next month or so. They're really healthy right now. Darnold continues to play really well. Don't expect perfection. He threw an interception yesterday, and he also had another one that could have been intercepted early. It's not going to be perfect, but he's been highly productive. And the defense, really confused Love early, and then, hey, LaFleur is a really good coach, and Love settled in and started making some good plays. He also started to make some desperate plays he might not have taken a chance on if they weren't down so far. So, and listen, the Packers are good. They were in the NFC Championship game last year. I also thought that Love was a little rusty early. He was just not all that sharp, and the Vikings took advantage of that.
Yeah, and Jordan Love looked like he may have been limited in his mobility, at least early. But, boy, It did not affect him later. Maybe he just settled in and just, started hucking the ball down the field. And his receivers are really starting to step up. Jaden Reed looks like he's for real. Dantavian Wicks made a couple of big plays. Their tight end, Tucker Kraft, scored a touchdown for him. They look like they're going to be tough.
Yeah, they are. And Jacobs is a good back. I kind of prefer Jones. I think he's more versatile than Jacobs, but Jacobs is a good back. And Malik Willis played great when he had to come in relief. So they have a good backup quarterback as well. I think if LaFleur, I was talking to somebody about why didn't they use Malik Willis at least in a couple of series, just to throw the Vikings off. And he said, well, what if Malik plays better than Jordan Love when Jordan Love's come back from an injury? Then might be causing a problem. You're better off just giving the game to one guy and letting him go. But the Packers are good. The Packers are going to be a playoff team. And the Viking-Packer game here late in the year will be highly entertaining.
Jim, your thoughts? I know we'll get into more of this as the week progresses, but your thoughts initially on Vikings-Jets based on how the Vikings have been playing and how the Jets lost yesterday against the Broncos.
Well, the Jets, I mean, listen, I never liked the idea that plug Aaron Rodgers into the Jets organization, everything's going to be great. You're talking about an egomaniac with a bad organization. Now, I give them this credit. They have acquired talent. They have talented players. But I don't really see much there in terms of coaching, organization. I just think they're missing a lot. And Aaron Rodgers was ripping his head coach yesterday. They scored 9 points against the Broncos. And Rodgers looks like he's already beat up. Now Rodgers beat up, got to fly across the ocean and face a defense that's going to come at him from all angles. I think the Vikings win this one, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's double digits.
Jim, let's talk about the big Timberwolves trade. Karl Anthony Towns goes to the Knicks. They get Julius Randle. They get Dante DiVincenzo and a first-round pick. Your thoughts on that trade?
I wrote about it the night it happened, and so my piece I think was in the Saturday, Sunday. I can't remember. Our print thing is so weird these days. I never know what day things are running, but it's online if you want to go find it. Let's start with this. Tim Connolly is absolutely fearless. He comes to town and immediately trades for Rudy Gobert, a trade that he knew that a lot of the league and a lot of league analysts would hate. He goes in the draft with absolutely nothing in his pocket, and he ends up with the 8th pick in Rob Dillingham. Then at the end of the summer, where we think, okay, they're set. They went to the Western Conference Finals last year. All they have to do is get a little bit better, and he trades one of his best players, one of his true all-stars, in a blockbuster deal right before media day. We're going to be at media day later today, and I don't even think we're going to be able to talk about it because the deal's not official yet. So he's something, man. He is something else, and he also knows what he's doing. So this deal was made for a number of reasons. Number one, paying Towns the amount of money they're paying him was not only going to cost them a lot in luxury tax money, which I don't think they mind that much. It was also going to limit their ability to sign free agents and make moves. When you're in the second apron, you just can't do anything. So their hands were kind of tied. So I don't think they would have traded Towns just to trade him, but then they end up with this deal. Towns is a better shooter than Randall. Randall kind of matches Towns' production. He gets his points in different ways, but he's a very good passer, very good rebounder. The only real question is, will he play well in what they want to be a flowing offense? DiVincenzo, they tried to get him last summer. They love him, and he's probably going to be here a long time. And he fits with exactly what they want to do. Randall might be a year, might be here 2 years. Maybe sign him long term. Maybe they use him as a way, getting rid of him after this year as a way to go get somebody else. Then they get a first-round pick draft, pick a first-round draft pick back, which is valuable because they traded so much to get Gobert. So they save money. They get flexibility. They're probably deeper. They're probably the same or better in terms of production, and they get a draft pick and salary cap space. I like it. It's not a guarantee that Randall's going to fit in perfectly. That's the X factor here. But Connolly has a great feel for these things. He's one of the executives I kind of give the benefit of the doubt to.
Who's the better player right now, Naz Reid or Julius Randle?
Oh, right now, Randall. He's just done it. He's done it. He's played more minutes. He's a starter instead of coming in off the bench, so he faces defenses that are geared up to stop him. Randall's the better player right now. But you bring up a very good point. Chris Hine from our paper did a good piece explaining all this. One of the reasons they made this deal is because they love Naz Reid. And this gives them the opportunity to give Naz Reid more of the offense. He can take over kind of Carl's big man shooting three role. He's probably going to play more minutes. He could develop into a starter. He could replace Randall as a starter eventually if Randall leaves. And this also clears space so they can sign him long term. I just think they like, listen, it's different. Towns is a starter and an all-star. Naz Reid just broke through last year as a reserve. They're not the same, but they love Naz Reid's upside and see that he might be able to do a lot of things they're missing from getting rid of Towns.
All right, we have just a couple of minutes left. I wanted to touch on the Lynx and a little bit on the Twins here, but the Lynx yesterday lose to Connecticut in game one of their series, lose by 3. Connecticut really kind of came on at the fourth quarter. Your thoughts on that game one loss?
The Lynx stopped scoring. This is a great offensive team, efficient offensive team, and they just stopped scoring. Part of it was Connecticut's defense. Part of it was they don't score because they're incredibly talented. They score because they move the ball and take really smart shots, and they can shoot it. And they just stopped getting good shots. They stopped making shots. They stopped making tough shots. And that was my concern going into the series. The Lynx had the better season, but the Sun have more playoff experience together. They're a very tough-minded, tough physical team. Alyssa Thomas is a great competitor. So, this is going to be a tough series.
Probably going to skip the Twins today because I did want to get your comments on the Gopher football team that lost by 3 at Michigan. Big comeback in the second half. Controversial call on a penalty on the offsides and the onside kick. Your thoughts?
Bad call. It's got to be a clear call for you to make it in that situation. It wasn't clear enough for them to make that call. Bad call. The onside kick should have happened, and the Gophers would have had an opportunity to tie or win the game. Gophers played horribly early. Then the fact that Michigan cannot throw the ball at all allowed the Gophers to start coming back. I thought they showed some gumption. I still don't know how good they are or if they're good. I don't know how good Michigan is. Michigan really, all they can really do is run the ball. So I just don't think the Big Ten's very good. So maybe there'll be a couple of victories out there for the Gophers just because the league just isn't that good.
All right, Jim, what do you got in your podcast?
Full slate's up at talknorth.com. Good John Krasinski. Well, of course, the Krasinski show is before the trade, so you might want to wait a couple days for the new one. Mike Grimm on the Gophers, Randy Shaver on high school football, Don Mitchell with Amy Hockert from Fox 9. I don't know. We got a lot of stuff. Chin music on a lot of the stuff we talked about is probably a little dated. We try to keep things updated. So, check out talknorth.com. There'll be something you like, but we will also be doing a new cycle of stories of podcasts that will cover all the news that broke this weekend.
All right, very good. Jim, thank you. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Thanks, Jay.
It's Jim Souhan, Star Tribune sports columnist, joining us every weekday morning at this time. Follow him on Twitter at SouhanStrib. Check out his latest column in the Star Tribune or his podcast that he talked about at talknorth.com. Jim, today is brought to you by the Green Mill in downtown St. Cloud. Next, the WJON World and National News from ABC, followed by local news.
Shop Macy's VIP sale, going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.